database interaction and modifiable and security purpose. So we can say string literal are usually shared between multiple clients. That's why it is immutable, and its action from one client might affect the rest client. Okay, so if multiple client interact with particular application and with particular port, and so we can say, so to protect the changes between different databases for same reference, so we need to use string literals as a immutable, because multiple clients if interact with particular applications, so action from one client might affect the rest. Okay, so it enhances security, caching, synchronization and performance of the application. Okay, next is what is the difference between an array and array list. So we already talk about array and array list. So but what is the difference between array and array list? So array cannot contain value of different data types. Array always contain value of same data type. If you want to use a string, so you can if you want to use character, so you can use character. If you want to use numeric value, so you can use numeric value. So you need to use same data type values. But in array list we can contain value of different data types, character, numeric value, boolean value, whatever you want. Okay, if we talk about array, size must be defined at the time of declaration. We need to give the size of that particular array at the time of declaration, and this is dynamic, so size can be dynamically changed. Okay, so need to specify the index in order to add data. We need to give the particular index value, 0th index value for the first index value in order to specify the data and add the data. In array list no need to specify the index. Okay, it automatically iterates the value to the next index value. Okay, so array are not type parameterized, but array list are type parameterized. Okay, an array can contain primitive data types as well as object, but array list can contain only objects. No primitive data types are allowed. So okay, so this is exception in array list. Okay, so array can contain both primitive data types as well as object, but array list can contain only objects. No primitive data types are allowed. I hope you understood. Okay, so now next question is, what is a map in Java? So we have different data types and different data structures in Java. So we also have a map. So map is an interface of utility package which helps us to map unique keys to value. So we have basically two pair values. First is unique key, which refers to particular value. Okay, so we will discuss about this later, what is a map in Java. So map interface is not a subset of a main collection interface. So we have a large collection interface in our Java. Okay, and main collection interface in our Java, but map interface is not a subset of any main collection interface, and it behaves little different from the other collection types because it has a key and value combination pair. Okay, and we have different characteristics of map interface. A map does not contain any duplicate keys. Okay, and each key can map at max one value. Okay, so don't worry, we will discuss about what is a map in Java in later, but we only talk about basic interview questions which are mostly asked in all companies interview. Okay, so that's why our only focus is on basics of all questions. Okay, if you have any query, if you want any particular video for any topic in detail, so you can ask freely in comment section. So next question is, what is collection class in Java? And list down is method and interface. So in Java we already talk about, we have a main collection interface, and we have a different collections in our Java. So what is collection? So collection is basically a framework that acts as an architecture. So we have a particular architecture which we can use for storing and manipulating a group of objects. Okay, so if we have a complex structure, and we can see we have a complex data, if we have a large code, so we can use collection framework that acts as an architecture and we can use for storing and manipulating a group of objects. So collection can perform various tasks like searching, sorting, insertion, manipulation and deletion in a very easy way. So collection framework includes it have their own interface, and it is also have classes. Collection have their classes, and collection have also their methods. So we will talk about collection in later, but you should know about what is a collection in Java. So just simple, collection is a framework that act as an architecture for storing, and it provides it can help us to perform various tasks like searching, sorting, insertion, manipulation and deletion. Particular and in detail implementation and execution of all collection classes, and with example we will discuss in our next video. Okay, So what is polymorphism? We already talk about OOPS concept, and we already talk about basic definition of polymorphism. But what are the different types of polymorphism, and what is the actual use of polymorphism? The polymorphism we already discussed is the we can say describe as one interface many implementation. Okay, and polymorphism is a characteristic of being able to assign a different meaning. If particular interface have one interface have many implementation, and we can say, and if you can assign to one object have different meanings and uses to something in a different context, which we allow to an entity such as variable, functions on an object to have more than one form. If a particular object, function and variables have more than one form, so we can say that a particular concepts of OOPS is called polymorphism. So there are basically two types of polymorphism. First is compile time polymorphism, and second is runtime polymorphism. So compile time polymorphism is also called method overloading, whereas runtime polymorphism is done by using inheritance and interface. Okay, so if we talk about particular polymorphism example, so we can easily see that we have mobile. Okay, so mobile have different features. Mobile have camera feature also, and mobile have remote feature also. Mobile can be used as a remote, and mobile also have mp3 song feature. So if one object, method, and we can say if one interface have many implementation features, so we can say this is called polymorphism. Okay, so what is abstraction in Java? We already discussed about abstraction, hidden implementation. So abstraction refers to the quality of dealing with ideas rather than event, and it is basically deals with hiding the details and only expose some basic user details to the user. Okay, and it provides us functionality, whatever we want to expose, and whatever details we want to expose, we can show. Okay, and showing the essential things to the user. You can say that abstraction in Java is the process of hiding the implementation details from the user and revealing only the functionality to them. And abstraction can be achieved only by two ways. First, we can create abstract class. So if we create abstract class, so it is 100% of abstraction can be achieved. But if we use interface, so then also 100% of abstraction can be achieved. But in abstract class there is a range. There might be 50% abstraction we can achieve, there might be 60%, 70%, and also 0%, and also 100%. But if we use interface, okay, we will discuss about this abstract classes and interface in later in our next video. But if we use interface, so 100% of abstraction can be achieved. Okay, so what do you mean by an interface in Java? So what is interface? So interface in Java is a blueprint of a class. Class is a blueprint, but interface in Java is also blueprint of a class, and we can say it is a collection of abstract method. In interface we have a different collection of abstract method and static constant. Okay, so in an interface each method is public and abstract. Okay, but it does not contain any constructor. So first point is very important. Interface is a collection of abstract method. We have different collections of method in interface and static constant, but in an interface each method is public, okay, and abstract, but it does not contain any constructor. Okay, so interface basically a group of related method which are related to each other with empty bodies. Okay, so this is an example of interface. We have an interface name animal, and you can see this interface is of public type, and we have different methods, but all methods are empty. There is not any body inside this method. Okay, so this is interface. Okay, what is the actual purpose of this interface? An abstract method which we basically need to implement the abstraction. So we will discuss about this later, but you should know about the basic of interface. So interface is a blueprint of a class, and interface contains different abstract method, and that particular abstract methods does not have any body. Okay, what is the difference between abstract class and interface? Okay, we already talked about interface and abstract class, but what is the actual difference between abstract class and interface, and what is the actual purpose of abstract class and interface? So abstract class can provide complete default code and or just the details that have to be overwritten, but in interface cannot provide any code at all, just the signature. We have only empty methods inside the interface. We can't write body, and we can't provide any code inside that particular method. But in abstract class we can provide complete default code and just the details that had to be overridden. In the case of abstract class, a class may extend only one abstract class. If we want to extend any particular abstract class. Okay, so we can extend only one abstract class. A class may implement several interfaces. Okay, so we can implement several interfaces. An abstract class can have non-abstract method also. Okay, so abstract class can extend one abstract class, and abstract class can have also non-abstract methods. Okay, all methods of an interface are abstract. So inside interface all methods are abstract. Okay, so we can't use non-abstract method inside the interface. So all abstract class can have instance variable, but an interface cannot have instance variable. Okay, so an abstract class can have visibility public, private, protected, but we already discussed an interface visibility must be public or none. Okay, if we add a new method to an abstract class, then we have an option of providing default implementation, and therefore all existing code might work properly. But if we have a new method to an interface, then we have to track down all the implementation of interface and define implementation for a new method. Okay, an abstract class can contain constructor, interface cannot contain constructor. We already discussed on our previous slide. Okay, and abstract classes are fast and interface are slow, as it requires extra indirection to find the corresponding method in the actual class, because we only have particular method signature. We don't have body, so for a in particular interaction, and we can say we need to we require extra indirection to find the corresponding method in the actual class. Okay, so that's why interfaces are slow. Okay, I hope you understood. So what is inheritance in Java? So you already know about inheritance. There is a child parent relationship, and where the properties of one class can be inherited by the other. Okay, and it has us to reuse the code. So if interviewer asks you what is the actual purpose and why we use inheritance in Java, so you can say it helps us to reuse the code and establish a relationship between different classes. So we can perform inheritance between two types of classes. So first is parent class, super or base class, and there is a child class. So subclass or derived class, we only need to use extend keyword to give the relationship between this child class and parent class to inherit the property of this parent class. So a class which inherits the properties is known as child class, and whereas the class whose properties are inherited is known as parent class. Okay, so I hope you understood. So what are the different types of inheritance in Java? So there are four basically different types of inheritance in Java. First is single inheritance. So one class simply inherits a property of another, and that is there will be only one parent and one child. Okay, so that particular inheritance is called single inheritance. And there is a multi-level inheritance, when a class is derived from a class which is also derived from another class. So there are different levels. So first there are class which is derived from another class, and there is also a class which is derived from another class. So there is basically a multi levels. Okay, so such type of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. And there is also a hierarchical inheritance, when a class has more than one child class, and so we can say there is a parent class and we have two child classes. So if one parent have more than one child classes, or in other words more than one child classes have the same parent class, then such kind of inheritance is called hierarchical inheritance. And what is hybrid inheritance? Hybrid inheritance is a combination of two or more types of inheritance. So if we want to use two or more types of combination of inheritance, if we want to use multi-level and hierarchical combination, so that particular type of combination of inheritance is called hybrid inheritance. And we also have another type of inheritance, but Java does not support that inheritance, which is multiple inheritance. So we will discuss about this later. So what is method overloading and method overriding? We already discussed about compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism, and compile time polymorphism, also known as method overloading. So what is method overloading? So in method overloading, methods of the same class. So we simply have a class, okay, and we have two different methods, but that particular methods have same name, but each method must have a different number of parameters, or parameter having different types and orders. So we will discuss about this with the example. Okay, so method overloading is to add or extend more to the method's behavior. So it is also called compile time polymorphism, and the method has a different signature but have same name. It may or may not need inheritance in method overloading. So let's take a look at the example below to understand it better. So we can implement method overloading first by changing number of arguments. So we have a class named adder, and we have two static methods named add. So both two methods have same name but different number of arguments. So we can implement method overloading by changing number of arguments. So inside the main method we call this add method, and this parameter will pass to this method, because this method have two parameters, and we also pass two parameters. So this will goes to this add method and return the result. and if we call this method and pass the value, so we have 3 parameters and we want to pass 3 parameter value, so this will goes to this add method. We have 3 parameters, so we can changing number of arguments and implement this method overloading. We can also apply a method overloading by changing the data type of argument. So in this program also we have 2 methods, name add same, and but in this program we change the data type of argument, so we can apply method loading by changing the data type also. Okay, so I hope you understood. So next is what is method overriding. So in method overriding, the subclass and we can say the child class have the same method with the same name and exactly the same number of type of parameter and same return type as a superclass. So in method overloading we have 2 methods in same classes, but in method overriding we have a relationship between 2 classes. There is a parent class, there is a child class. In parent class and child class they both have a same name and exactly same number and type of parameter and same return type as a superclass. Okay, so to override the method is to change existing behavior of the method, so it is a runtime polymorphism. Okay, so method must have the same signature. It always require inheritance in method overriding. So in method overloading we don't need inheritance, but in method overriding we require inheritance in method overriding. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. So we have a class named animal, okay, parent class, and we have a method named move, and we want to print this statement, animal can move. And we also have a child class, okay, named dog, which extend this animal class. So this is parent class, this is child class, and we also have a method named move. So both have same signature, and in this class we want to print animal can move, and in this class we want to print dog can walk and run. So we invoke the superclass method from the child class. And there is a main class named testdog class which have main method, and we call this we have reference for animal class, child class, but we call the dog object class, and we can say call the dog or dog class constructor, child class constructor. Okay, so we call this move method, so this will override the parent class method. When we call this move method, first output is animal can move, okay, animal can move, parent class method, okay, parent class method value, and then dog can walk and run. So it basically override this move method and goes towards this animal class, this move method. So animal reference, but we have dog object. Okay, so run the method in the dog class. Okay, so I hope you understood. So we already discussed about different types of inheritance. So what is multiple inheritance and it is supported by Java or not? So I already discussed about this. We already discussed about what is what are different types of inheritance, and there is also another type of inheritance which is multiple inheritance, which is not supported by Java. So if a child class inherits the property of multiple classes, is known as multiple inheritance. But why Java does not allow to extend multiple classes? So there is a reason, and we can say there is a problem with multiple inheritance, is that if multiple parent class have the same method name, okay, if multiple parent class have same method name, then at runtime it becomes difficult for the compiler to decide which method to execute. We have a child class and we extend both classes, and we call particular method inside this child class, and that particular method with same signature is present in the B class also, in the C class also. Then how compiler can find and how compiler can decide which method to execute from the child class? So therefore Java does not support multiple inheritance. So the problem is commonly referred to as diamond problem. This problem is known as diamond problem. Okay, so I hope you understood. So what is the encapsulation in Java? So encapsulation we already discussed is a mechanism where you bind your data, and we can say you bind your variables and methods together in a single unit. So data is hidden from the outer world and can be exist only via current class method. So basically this helps in protecting the data from any unnecessary modification, and we can achieve encapsulation in Java. So by 2 ways: first, declaring the variable of a class is private, and provide public getter and setter method to modify and view the value of variables. Okay, so we will discuss about this encapsulation later with the examples and execution. So I hope you understood what is the basic concept of encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, and interface and all basic concepts of Java. So next is association. There is a concept called association. There is a relationship called association. So association is a relationship where all objects have their own life cycle, okay, and there is no owner. So all different objects have their own life cycle and there is no owner, okay. So let's take an example of teacher and student. So multiple students can associate with a single teacher, okay, and a single student can associate with multiple teachers, but there is no ownership between the objects and both have their own life cycle. Student have their own life cycle, teacher have their own life cycle, and multiple student can associate with single teacher and single student also associate with multiple teachers, okay, and there is also no ownership. So these relationship can be one to one, one to many, many to one, and many to many. So that's why these relationships are called association, okay.